Welcome to Issues and Answers with your host, Diane. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. And now, Issues and Answers with your host, Diane.
Welcome to the program. I'm Diane. Has one of your favorite stores closed here in Albuquerque or throughout the state of New Mexico? Or maybe they have shortened their hours. I cannot shop now at night. Well, I kind of don't want to go out on the road at night either because of the crime problem. But now some of the stores are closed because of the crime problem. Okay, I'm shaking my head, I'm sure you have. And I'm not smiling because it is a serious situation, but someone is taking some control over it, and that is the New Mexico Business Coalition. Carla Sonntag is the Executive Director, President of New Mexico Business Coalition, which is just not Carla, even though she's the one who comes on our show a lot, but also a lot of businesses across the state of New Mexico she represents with this New Mexico Business Coalition. She's going to be on the show today to talk about the crime problem and positively what this association is going to do about it. Stay with us as we talk to Carla Sonntag right after this.
Hey America, now there's a place where we can join our voice, Real America's Voice. Real America's Voice is coming to a town near you with a grassroots approach, bringing the real voice of America together. Real America's Voice is growing our family of networks across the country, and soon you could be part of that change. Download the Real America's Voice app and join other Americans just like you across the country, coming together for real change.
Well, a lot of us complain. If you're like me, we complain to our neighbors, to our friends about the crime. Sunday mornings, I hear constantly, there go those emergency sirens every Sunday morning. What is going on Sunday mornings? Well, I'm not up at 2 in the morning when a lot of the crime takes place. But you know what? I guess it's not just 2 in the morning. It's just every day. They're walking out of our stores. They're walking out of our favorite department stores, our big box stores, the private little stores. They're walking out with hands full of goods. And we see them going, and there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing the store clerks can do about it. They tell me, we're told we can't chase them. We cannot do anything to stop them. Well, the New Mexico Business Coalition is doing something about it. They are taking a stand. They're not just complaining, but we're going to do a little bit of complaining now on the show about it. Carla Sonntag, thank you so much, President of the New Mexico Business Coalition, the organizer and founder of the coalition.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So, a little bit of the complaining. What's going on out there, Carla?
Crime is escalating, and people are no longer safe in many parts of the state. Albuquerque's the worst. We're the epicenter of the crime. It's going up, and we don't have good leadership decisions being made to take care of it. And so that is why we see these incidents of people walking out with goods, and there's vandalism and theft going on behind the scenes as well that is hampering business operations.
What is the public telling you? What are businesses telling you?
Businesses are tired of this because many of them will have vandalism, broken windows and things like that that fall under their insurance deductible, and so they're paying out of pocket thousands of dollars. Those that are making insurance claims are finding their insurance is going up. As a matter of fact, Diane, insurance in Albuquerque is going up for everyone, on your auto, on your home, on your business, because insurance companies are not in the business to lose money. And the losses are so high, they've got to raise premiums. So the other thing, businesses are paying thousands of dollars for their own security because they can't get the police to respond in a timely manner, if at all.
We know, we've seen it. Okay, that's the part where we're not complaining, but we're telling it as it is. Mm-hmm. Now comes the part, what are you doing about it? I mean, we all have a right to vote in our elected officials. That's the right we have. We have a vote to write letters to the editor. We have a right to be on Issues and Answers, to talk about it. So we have a lot of talking about it, but who's supposed to be listening to us and who's supposed to be doing something about this, Carla?
Well, there's two things that happened with the governor that has had a tremendous impact on crime. One was bail reform. They wanted to reform the bail system because they said our jails and prisons were overflowing, and so they needed to get people that were just being held for lack of bail money back out until their trial. Well, they passed the law, and it certainly worked because now our jails and our prisons are at about 50% capacity. They're not just putting people out that have a small amount of bail, they couldn't pay. They're putting hardened criminals out. And so we're seeing repeat offenders coming against us. And that's where the murder rate in the city and other forms of bodily harm and damage to property has skyrocketed because of these people.
And they tried to change that bill, but haven't been successful at doing that.
No, because it was the governor and the people that are aligned with her that passed it, and they don't want to fix it. But that has been an ongoing problem. The other thing that happened shortly after she came into office is she passed a law that deals with qualified immunity and basically took that away from our police officers. So qualified immunity is if a police officer is operating within the realm of their job, the way they're trained, not using excessive force and not doing anything just dumb, that if they harm somebody in that act of doing their job, they will not be sued personally. The city will take the liability if there is a lawsuit. The governor took that away. So now any officer, for any reason, that harms somebody can be sued personally. So you've got police officers that put their lives on the line for us every day. Now they're putting their entire family's well-being on the line as well. It's not fair, and it's not right, and it's the reason that we're having trouble getting police officers here.
Or perhaps acting as they should or could because of the fear of being sued.
That's exactly right. So they call it a hot call when it's a 911 call and somebody is in duress. It used to be, when my husband worked for APD for years, the officer got in the most trouble racing to the scene to save that person. They might run a red light or they might cause an accident because they're running code with their lights on, their sirens on. Not anymore. They are not in a hurry to get there. They don't want to get there because if it's an emergency like that, they are likely to have to draw their weapon and somebody could get hurt. And now they could be personally liable. It's not right.
So what is the Albuquerque Business Coalition trying to do about this?
So those are two things that need to be handled legislatively. But within the city of Albuquerque, we have a different situation, and this is a different leadership problem.
Oh, no.
These are decisions that the mayor has made. He had the police chief put out a memo telling all of his officers, hands off the vagrants and the transients. No matter what law they're breaking, don't touch them.
And you researched this, and the New Mexico Business Coalition found this memo.
We
correct?
have the memo.
It actually exists.
Oh yeah, but so we put it out to the public. There was such a public outcry about this. He rescinded the order. We have a copy of the rescission. However, we think they're still operating under it because they don't want to touch these people for fear of repercussion. I don't know what their problem is. These vagrants, these transients are breaking the laws. So what we want to see happen, we want to see the city of Albuquerque enforcing current laws. We have laws against vagrancy, against trespass, against copper theft. They're stealing the copper out of businesses now, stripping the electrical system or the air conditioners. Put that business out of business for a few days while they get it repaired. It'll cost thousands of dollars, and all they got was about $40 worth of copper. We have laws against that. They are not being enforced.
We have laws against vagrancy.
Yes?
What's the definition of a vagrant or transient, and what's the law against that action?
Those people that are camping illegally on property they're not allowed to be on. We have laws against that.
Well, you've heard of cases where businesses will call, I've heard, maybe it's from you, but call saying there are people who set up a tent or something in my property, my parking lot, and the city then will charge the business with the crime of allowing it, I guess.
Yes, we had a business in Albuquerque that called for that very thing. They had cut his fence, gone in, were camping illegally on his property. He called for help several times. Police would not respond. After a long time, the city did respond, and they sent out code enforcement and fined him for illegal camping on his property. I mean, Diane, you can't make this stuff up. This is the reality of what we're living with. Our businesses are being demonized for the very laws they're calling to ask for enforcement of.
And if they call too often for help, for enforcement, they are what? They're tagged, the business is tagged, or are they fined for calling for help?
They can be tagged as a nuisance business, and the city can actually shut them down. And that too has happened in Albuquerque a while back. And so businesses are very cautious about calling for help. They're not getting help anyway. And so we have some that are spending thousands of dollars to hire their own security. And then to make matters worse, we have the police chief in Albuquerque sent a letter to Walgreens telling them to hire their own security because the city's not going to provide it. And they better lock up their alcohol because it's too easy to steal. It didn't used to be this way when we were enforcing laws against theft and against vandalism, against illegal camping. We still have these laws, but we have become an unsafe city because of leadership decisions not to enforce them.
So what are you going to do about that?
We have found a law firm in Arizona that won a landmark case against the city of Phoenix for much the same thing. And it actually redefines a very bad decision that was made years ago in a case called Martin versus the city of Boise. And in that decision, they said you can't make these people who are camping illegally move. That's not the case. You can make them move.
But the lawsuit said you cannot do that?
That's correct, in Martin versus the city of Boise.
Okay.
And so we have the ACLU coming against any city that attempts to make these people move. So we have the city of Albuquerque and others using this as a crutch. We must leave these people here untouched.
Because of this case. But that was that in Arizona or was that in Idaho? Where was that?
That original case was in Idaho.
Okay.
But this
was
year,
on the book saying you cannot make them move.
that was the judge's decision.
Okay.
Okay. But recently, this law firm in Arizona took a case against the city of Phoenix, and the judge said, that was not a good decision, good interpretation. You can make these people move. You've got to have a place for them to go. Okay, so look at Albuquerque. And I recently talked to the city attorney and I said, let's talk numbers. How many people do we have that are living on the streets? About 2,000. Now, mind you, Diane, just a few years ago, that number was about 200. Many of these people living here today are not New Mexico residents. They're coming from other places. And we know this for a fact. We have somebody that goes out in the field and verifies that. Be that as it may, we've got 2,000 people living on the streets. How many facilities do we have?
178 or something, 143.
No, we have over 2,000
2,000
available beds.
Oh, I'm thinking of homeless shelters and such. That's what you're saying.
Beds.
Okay, beds. On the show, we do a lot of programs about helping, I call street people who prefer to live on the street, homeless people. There are a lot of different nonprofits that help these folks.
There are, and between the private sector and the public sector, meaning the city of Albuquerque, the West Side facility, and the Gibson facility, we have over 2,000 beds available, or should be available. So, no longer should the city be using that as a crutch. And this law firm, they are willing to take our case to file suit against the city of Albuquerque. We are not seeking money from them. What we want is enforcement of existing laws. Because when they were enforcing those laws, we were a safer city.
Now, has our city used that crutch of this Martin versus Boise to say, you know, we don't touch them?
Absolutely. That was the basis of the original memo from the chief of police. And then we've got the ACLU, when they finally cleared out Coronado Park, the ACLU got upset about that, saying, oh, no, you can't make these people move. Well, yes, in fact, you can.
And they did. They
cleared out Coronado, but they scattered them, and now they're causing the same issue other places throughout the city. But that is also leading to the increased amount of crime that we have in this city. The governor herself said, in Albuquerque, you're not safe to go to your job, to get your prescription drugs, or to go to a city park. We're not safe here. And those of us that live here, we know that all too well.
Well, she has now a health order, emergency health order regarding crime.
Well, it's about taking guns from responsible citizens who need those guns to protect themselves, because the people that are breaking the laws are not going to follow her decree that they should give up their guns as well. It's only the people that are qualified to own and operate a gun that would be the victims of her health order. But it's not going to happen. We got a temporary restraining order in court that she can't do that because she's violated both the New Mexico Constitution and the US Constitution.
And I think a number of local law enforcement organizations are signing that they will not follow the order.
Even our Attorney General, she has not found people willing to back her up. And nationwide, she's being criticized for this. Even those people who would support tighter gun controls do not support the violation of the Constitution.
Do you think a lawsuit with a successful outcome saying, oh, you know what, law enforcement in Albuquerque, you need to enforce our laws? It's kind of a given. I mean, we have the laws and that the legislature or the city council created, and it's up to the mayor and the chief of police to see that they are enforced.
Yes.
You found there was a memo saying don't enforce them, then it was rescinded, but you still feel they're not enforcing it because you've heard from businesses and New Mexicans, Albuquerqueans, they're not doing this.
Well, and we know that they're not enforcing the law on copper theft. They're not enforcing the law regarding vagrancy, illegal camping, theft, vandalism. These people are not being prosecuted, and they should be. We have laws to protect the rest of us, to protect us from bodily harm, and to protect our businesses.
Do you think a lawsuit would encourage them, require them to do this, to do their jobs?
If we get the right judgment, it would mandate that they do. You know, Diane, it wasn't that long ago that Albuquerque being a big city, we have crime, we're always going to have crime, but we were a much safer city. Now, even according to the governor, we're top 3 in the nation for being a dangerous city. And again, we know that, we feel it. It's not safe sometimes to go shopping. We need to be home after dark, but there's home invasions going on as well. We're not even safe in our homes sometimes. The chief of police threatened to sue car manufacturers because their cars are too easy to steal. How about getting some officers on the street to protect us? We do have an officer shortage, and people say that's the problem. That is not the problem. We've had about the same number of officers for many years. The population of Albuquerque has not grown that much. But what's happening is we are seeing more and more officers that are in the back office. They're not on the streets. You don't see enforcement on the streets. You don't even see police officers cruising around anymore. You may see the sheriff, and you may see IPS, a private security firm, but we're not seeing a lot of police officers.
Isn't that some part of the decree that we've had in the state or in the city for maybe 9 or 10 years now from the Department of Justice? A lot of paperwork, extra paperwork to follow up on all these things.
It's been over 10 years, and that also is a leadership decision. It is time to get the DOJ out of New Mexico. We can manage our police properly. We have already shown that. We don't need to be subservient to them any longer. The problem with the DOJ is when they come over and they take over a law firm or a police force, it's hard to get about. But it can be done if we have the right leadership. We don't have a mayor that is pushing to have them remove themselves from Albuquerque.
And I think the director of the Department of Justice here, or that program, was making, what, $100,000 or more?
Oh, much more.
Just for a few hours of work, it seemed like.
Yes, he's making millions of dollars, and
millions.
taxpayers are paying for that, and it's taking our officers off the streets, so they're not protecting us. They're not taking calls for service. We have police reports from our business owners all the time that they've called an emergency situation and police never respond.
What are businesses telling you about your potential lawsuit against the city of Albuquerque?
Well, it is up to the community. If they want to do this, they need to help us raise the money in order to file the lawsuit. It's going to be costly. So they can find out about that at NewMexicoBusinessCoalition.org, NMBizCoalition.org. In the meantime, they're saying, yeah, buddy, we need to do something, because they are paying thousands and thousands of dollars to try to protect themselves, their properties, and the people who come onto their properties, but they're losing the battle. Costs are going up, not only to fix and repair, but the cost of insurance, the cost of doing business is going up because businesses don't want to operate here anymore. You've seen businesses closing.
Actually, I was at a retail shop. It was actually late after dark on Friday. It's like, I shouldn't be out here this late, it's dark, I should get home. And the cashiers and clerks were saying they see daily people just walking out, and they said that they are told not to do anything, can't do anything about it, and the criminals know they can't, and I think it was because of the insurance costs. They said the cost of the merchandise is high enough, but if we did something, got involved, then our company's insurance costs will go up.
Right, from the liability.
From the liability.
Yes.
So they see it, the criminals know they're not stopping them. And so they said, for all of us, Carla, me, and our viewers, the price of products are going up.
That's right.
The price of the products because of the thefts. So it is affecting all of us, not just our safety of our lives, which is important, but also the things that we want to buy. Everything knows they're going up, but part of that is because of these thieves taking belongings that don't belong to them, and we're all having to pay for that.
That's right. You're paying for the stuff that was stolen when you buy an item that you want to use. You have to, and then you have to also cover the cost of the higher insurance that business is paying and the higher costs just in general to operate there. They're hiring security. The security guard will sit there and watch them walk out the door with the stuff too, because he or she is also not allowed to do anything.
Yeah, what does happen with those security people, the private security out front?
They're
not able to do anything either.
Nope, because of the liability. They are just a deterrent. But the thieves have learned that, and they know they're not at risk, and so they just do what they're going to do, steal what they're going to steal, walk right out in front of the security guard, and the guard just watches them go.
What is the cost of this lawsuit?
So we are gathering the money right now for a $50,000 retainer. That is for the law firm to do their due diligence to make sure that they've got a case in New Mexico, which I applaud them. They want to take this effort nationwide. They've already filed suit in Salt Lake City, and they're looking at San Francisco. So big cities using that original law as a crutch need to be told that's not how it works. To take the entire case, once they do their due diligence, we've told them enough, they're excited about working in New Mexico in Albuquerque. Once they take the case, we're anticipating about $250,000 total costs to get the lawsuit filed and finished.
Is New Mexico Business Coalition the one taking the charge on this, taking the lead on this?
We are. We located the law firm. We have talked to them. They are ready to rock and roll. If the community wants to invest in a lawsuit that is going to stop some of these problems and get things back on track in the city, rather than paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in theft and vandalism and security costs, then they can send us a few $1,000s and get this lawsuit going, and we can make it happen. This is critical. Things have got to change in this city because our leadership is not changing them in the right direction.
Some people like me may think, well, I'm already paying my taxes. I'm already paying my property taxes. I'm already tax, sales tax, income tax, property taxes, grocery receipts taxes. I'm already paying for government to do its job. Why do I need to pay for a lawsuit for government to do its job?
Because that's exactly the problem. You're paying for government to do their job, and they're not doing their job. They have chosen not to do this. And so, unfortunately, if people want to contribute a little bit, we can get that back on track where then your tax dollars are being used for your protection, what you think you should be getting.
And again, they can find information where, Carla Sonntag?
nmbizcoalition.org.
Well, the businesses who have been paying increased insurance and paying for broken windows and putting bars on the windows, I imagine are they starting to pay up for this lawsuit?
We are starting to get money in now because people realize we've got people that will send $10 and some that'll pay $5,000 or $10,000 because they know this is an investment that could change the outlook in the future. And we're all ready for that positive change. And that's why we're not giving up, and we're not going to just sit around and moan and groan and complain about the problems. We know now we have a solution.
What about the Albuquerque, what is it called? The Hispano Chamber of Commerce, the Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce, are they part of the coalition? Are they taking the lead on some of these things?
We've not seen them take a lead on that. A lot of other organizations don't want to stand up in this way to government officials. And it's unfortunate, but in our opinion, it is the only solution because they are elected to do a job, they need to do it.
So some businesses are maybe fearful or feel they don't want to stand up and sue. I mean, no one really likes to be involved in a lawsuit or have their name on a lawsuit because of retribution as well.
Yes, and that's the beautiful thing about this. The New Mexico Business Coalition will be at the tip of the sword. We do not have to, and we will not disclose our donors. So people can give freely. We will never disclose their name. We'll take the heat.
That's a big thing because there could be the retribution coming from government.
And we understand that. We have been holding elected officials accountable for many years. We understand how it works. We have felt government come against us, but we're still here, Diane. We're not giving up, and we're not giving in to corruption or misdirection. We're going to attempt to correct the course, and that is why we're doing the lawsuit. If the community wants to fund it, they will not be disclosed, but we believe we can get a positive outcome and get Albuquerque on a better track.
And in addition to lawsuits, the coalition does more than attempt to sue the city of Albuquerque.
Oh, our big calling is we're policy wonks, and we're just always working on good business policy. We believe that government has a purpose and we should all pay our fair share, but we do fight back when government wants to increase taxes unnecessarily. So we have saved our business owners, and honestly individuals as well, thousands of dollars in taxes, in tax laws that we've gotten stopped or modified. So we know what it takes to run a business, and we're looking for policy that'll make it easier for them to grow and prosper and create more jobs, because when business is doing well, we're all doing well.
So your organization, since you're saving all of us individuals too a lot in taxes, are you getting the support from the public?
We are, and you know, we're open. We're a different kind of business organization. We have a lot of individuals that are members as well, and we welcome them because they are impacted by the business policy we're working on.
Very good. Thank you for all you've done for our community, for our state, for my TV program here in KCHF TV. Carla Sonntag, thanks again for all you're doing.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching this program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Make it a great week with your family. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
The New Mexico Modern Child Support Family Program works to benefit both parents for the purpose of improving children's lives. It provides the basics of child support, but goes further by helping parents step up to find better job opportunities that get them back on track to paying their monthly child support obligation. Find out how the Child Support Step Up program can help your modern family. Contact New Mexico Child Support today to learn more.
Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program or to purchase a copy of any Issues and Answers program, visit sunbroadcasting.org or call us at 505-345-1991.